Today, I'm going to show you how to make a cinematic terrain piece with a few simple tricks. Yo dog, Kenny Boucher here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days. On this glorious Friday, coming to you from the Beats Lab in Hollywood, California. We're coming back to it. We're doing the Lord of the Rings Weathertop terrain piece, that promotional piece we were working on last week. Well, this week, I epoxied all the pieces in, and now we're going to add some amazing scenic effects to it. We're going to give it the 1-2 to make it truly cinematic. This video is all about simple tricks and knowing what tools to use. Like most of my videos, it's all about technique, very little skill. Anyway, guys, if you guys don't know, Patreon is my personal crowdfunding page, and I want to do a quick roll call. Simon, LT, Pierre, Magid, Michael, Doug, Justin, Sander, Hakur, Christian, Oliver, Tim, John, Leonid, Paul, Obelisk Miniatures, John, Chris, and Russell. Thanks, guys. Can't do this without you. Helps me keep the lights on, keep doing what I do. Got some more news for you guys. We're on Twitch. If you haven't heard, now you know. We got a weekly broadcast, Tuesday and Saturday. That's Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's Saturday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. We're hitting it up, doing 3-hour streams twice a week. Interactive Q&A. We've got reward tiers now. We got digital currency, and we're giving out swag every month and a raffle for one-on-one painting session with me done every month. Got a lot of exciting things. You definitely want to check that out. Anyway, guys, thelongword.net is the home of the battle reports. You're going to want to check that out too. All right, let's do this thing, guys. Here's that Lord of the Rings promotional use only, highly exclusive terrain set we were working on last time. What I've done since the last video is I've glued on all these columns and these broken spires. I used Gorilla Glue, 2-stage epoxy. Really wanted this thing to be strong, no breaks. Some of the accents we're about to add to it are going to be very difficult to repair if a column snaps on you while you're playing it. Obviously, I've also given it a billion matte varnishes using some real industrial shit from Home Depot. None of the basic hobby shit. I used the hobby shit to like do for the last stage, but this thing is very well protected. So let's go over some of the supplies that we're going to be using here. Obviously, some basic Scenic add-ons, thick super glue, Elmer's glue, and your basic hobby tools. I went with Army Painter here on some of these grass tufts just because they're really thin and easy to strip down with the X-Acto blade and cut into tiny little pieces. Perfect to shove inside those big major cracks in the tile to simulate grass is sprouting up between the cracks. So the way I did that obviously was I shaved down a piece. I cut it with the X-Acto blade, got it real thin and narrow, and now I'm just like, you know, coating one side of it with the Elmer's glue and just tucking it into that crack so it totally is bursting from the crack. You know, sometimes a terrain too, you know, less is more. So I'm not going to try to go over every crack, just a couple of big cracks all on one side of the piece. Like, I feel like sometimes balance is not the key. Sometimes you want to lean heavy on one side. So on the left side of the piece, the grass is going to be coming out of the cracks. I'm also, as you see, going to be putting more flowers on the left side using some of those Meadow Flowers. And it's already, I mean, just like that, with those 2 add-ons, it's already amazing, those 3 pieces. And tufts of grass are definitely the shit. If you don't know about tufts of grass, stop using static flock, use tufts. Find some cool spots hiding in the big rocks, throw them up in that brown dirt, you know, like bigger, you know, clumps that, you know, it's a little bit more realistic that like a big cluster of healthy grass is going to be growing out over there. I did also use like more of the tan grass, like the more, not the super vibrant green. So here's some Meadow Flowers, also from Army Painter. These are great, and I'm going to, you know, centralize them or, you know, collect them around that tree over there. I assume since like these trees are sprouting out over there, you know, it's easier for plant life to grow. It's kind of like where I'm in my head. Like, I'm not a scientist, you know, I'm just doing my best to figure this shit out. You know, but I'm going to pop one over here, a different color one with the yellow flowers, because they do give you the cool white and yellow Meadow Flowers. Gonna sneak a couple of tufts of grass in some of the major cracks of the broken statue. really goes a long way here if you can like tuck them in a real like classy spot like that. Another yellow flower right here under the tree, really giving you the look of like vegetation is thriving in this one spot. You know, the makers of the terrain piece did already have, you know, these shrubs growing out of the rock, so definitely I felt like I was half-assing it if I didn't add my own vegetation. But here's my favorite shit. Army Painter also makes this ivy. Now this ivy is a straight bitch to work with. It is hard to make look good. I've learned from my mistakes in the past that you kind of have to just like pull it apart like gauze, get it kind of, you know, preset, and then really just build some glue up and let it set in one area. Then, you know, put more glue on. I also like to use super glue when comboing it off here. You're going to see here that there's a lot to this. So we're just basically piling up the Elmer's glue. And I like Elmer's glue. I feel like it's a little bit stronger than most Scenic PVA glues. So, you know, I'm just taking my time trying to really figure out where the contact points are going to be. And if it's easy, this, you know, you'll be able to get it with the Elmer's glue. And, you know, a little classy wedging, you know, going crazy. I mean, this is an ancient Chinese technique here, using the empty container and another heavy object to brace it. While that's setting, I'm going to go over to the other column over here, and I'm using super glue over here because I can't quite get the Elmer's glue to let it set. So I have like a puddle of super glue instead of a water bottle lid and a shitty old paintbrush, and I'm just painting on super glue in some clutch areas to really let it set. You see, now I'm using the ancient Chinese technique again to just brace up, let those minimal contact points really glue down to the columns so that you have, you know, so you have some nice dangling ivy, like it's crawling up, you know, growing out, really just doing its best. And like I said, I'm adding, just piling on super glue and underneath the ivy and best I can, really just doing my work here. Now this is a piece over here. I really want it to be like matted down on top. Like it's really like the top of this column is just for some reason really good for the plant life, because you can see the makers of the model have a whole shrub growing out over there. So I really wanted there to be a nice, you know, matted down collection of vegetation up here. It's, you know, this is an ancient piece. So we threw down a whole bunch of super glue just there, and we're just now gonna like brace up a container flow improver. It's real heavy. I'm gonna get it to balance there, and we're gonna let that super glue set. Get it into a position where the glue doesn't adhere to the container though. Now while that's setting, I see a little piece of grout over here that's been chipped away, and I'm gonna put another piece of grass in there. Gonna, you know, same technique we did earlier on the tile. You really, you know, just really visualize what's classy. You know what I mean? Like I'm not a scientist, but I do know what looks cool. So now we got that whole top of the ivy to set. I'm gonna pile on the super glue, the Elmer's glue, and I'm gonna weight it down again after I get all the super glue in there. Sorry, the Elmer's glue. And the main reason I'm doing this is because it's gonna dry totally clear, but also I really don't want this piece of ivy to come off. And I'm gonna also put a couple more pieces of vegetation up there. So yeah, I'm gonna throw a little bit of flower clusters in there. So like it's almost like the ivy is flowering. I don't know if that's actually a thing. I just know it looks cool because it gives you a little bit of texture, kind of layers, three-dimensional textures. Now I'm gonna dry fit the ivy around this one spire here. Same deal. I'm gonna come in with the super glue, and we're gonna find where the ivy will make contact with the spire, the column itself. You know, push it down, make sure we get that contact. And much the same. This is all about patience right here. You know, you literally can't just think it's gonna stick right away. You gotta get it very carefully into position, and then you're gonna have to use ancient Chinese techniques to get these ivy to fit. You know, like I'm just literally grab this container, secret weapon, realistic water, and just wedge it up in there, and we're letting that contact point adhere. You know, moving around this container of double stick tape, this cylinder, just to really let all that shit dry and adhere. While that's adhering, I'm gonna throw a couple of classy flower clusters out here on the outside here. You know, some grass, you know, where the outer perimeter of the weathertop piece has natural rocks and dirt. You know, just really, you know, go to town here. Make sure that you have flat enough surfaces to justify these pieces, or you'll have to slice them up. You know, and the only thing that sucks with the Army Painter add-ons is they do take a little bit of work to manipulate and get them looking just right. Whereas like a company like Gamer Grass, I think they're a little bit easier to work with. But I was putting an order in anyway because I needed this ivy. So here's the last piece of ivy. A little bit of super glue, like I said, we're piling it up. Gonna really get this contact point to stick. Come back to the double stick tape, ancient Chinese technique. Let it adhere right here. While that contact point is drying, you know, we're gonna add a little bit more super glue in. Get it, you know, in the cut right there. Add a base to the top. Move the cylinder out of the way. Let that adhere. Good to go. Now we're gonna go in for our Elmer's glue, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna pile it the fuck up. Really, this is gonna help coat all the little pieces of ivy. It's going to really give us a secure platform to also add a couple pieces of vegetation to. We want that texture. A couple more flowers, and even maybe a piece of grass here or there. We really want it to look natural. We want it to have some texture. I'm feeling pretty good about this piece so far. I love the ivy, dangling, looking fresh. So now we're gonna come in there and finish up these shrubs. Using a little bit of necrotite green and a little bit of flash gets yellow. Do a quick dry brush. We already painted these things down. Used a quick wash, and now I just want them to have a little bit more texture to really pop and match the overall definition of the piece, because this piece is looking good. So don't slack on these. You know, and I kind of wish GW didn't add them, but they're there, so do your best. Classy dry brush. So there it is, man. With just a few minutes. I mean, like I say, a few minutes, literally that took me like fucking 4 hours. But there it is, looking its best. Absolutely a cinematic piece. Just those add-ons, those accents are just looking so good. So proud of this piece. Makes me want to play Lord of the Rings right the fuck now, man. And there it is, guys. Like, that's simple. You don't have to slack on your terrain. It's that easy. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like these tutorials, check out Next Level Painting on Patreon. Become a patron of the arts today. We offer early and exclusive access to our videos and a rewards program for different pledge levels. Patreon is PayPal and credit card secure, so you don't have to worry about that. We use 100% of the money to improve our process.